Hello everyone, how are you all? Welcome to our course Writing 1. I'm Amal الفرا. I'm going to teach you this course and we will start with the first chapter, which is talking about the mechanics of writing. So we're going to talk first about the punctuation marks. You know that punctuation is the key to make your writings understandable and eligible, as we will see. Punctuation is used to create sense, clarity, and stress and intonation in your sentences. What do we mean by creating sense? Creating sense means adding meaning to your sentences. For example, if you add an exclamation mark to the end of your sentence, this expresses surprise. If you add a question mark at the end of your sentence, that means you are questioning, you are asking questions. Clarity means punctuation marks make your writing clear for the readers. And the stress and intonation also, when you read your writings, you can also use stress, use intonation, so that the listener will understand what you are reading. There are many types of punctuation marks, as we will see, and each type has a function or many functions also. The most common of these types are the period, which is the full stop, the comma, the exclamation mark, the question mark, quotation marks, colon, semicolon, apostrophe, hyphen and dash, parentheses and brackets, and the capital letters. As we see here in the punctuation tree, we have the symbols of these punctuation marks, brackets, comma, exclamation mark. It's clearer in the next slide. This is the period, it means full stop. Question mark, this is the symbol of it. Quotation marks, we call them also the inverted commas. Here in between we put the quoted words. Apostrophe, which is placed above the words, like abbreviations, for example, she's. It is a contracted form of she is. Like the comma, which is placed on the line between words, after some words, before some words. The hyphen, the exclamation point or mark, the colon, the parentheses, and we have also the squared brackets, and the semicolon. Why do we use punctuation marks? Punctuation marks are symbols. This is the identification of punctuation marks. When we want to define them, we say punctuation marks are symbols that indicate the structure and organization of written language. Okay, so when I ask you define punctuation marks, what are punctuation marks? They are symbols that indicate the structure and organization of written language. They organize your written language, as well as intonation and pauses to be observed when read aloud. We use intonation, we use stress, we use pauses when we read our writings, so that it will be understandable by the listeners. In written English, punctuation is vital. Vital means very important, essential. Why? To disambiguate the meaning of sentences. Disambiguate means to make them clear for the readers. We will start with the comma. Comma has many functions, as we will see. Before starting and talking about the functions, look at these two sentences, and please, dear students, try to differentiate between the first sentence and the second sentence. Please stop the video and try to think. What's the difference between the first and the second? Good students. Let's see the first one. The first one says, let's eat, Grandpa. The second one says, let's eat, comma, Grandpa. If you look at the first one, let's eat, Grandpa, it means we are hungry, we are going to eat our grandfather. Okay? But if you look at the second one, when I say, let's eat, Grandpa, it means I'm giving Grandpa a suggestion. I'm suggesting for him to go together, for example, and have lunch together, to eat together, but not eating him. This is the difference between the first and the second. In the first one, I'm going to eat my grandfather. But in the second one, I'm giving a suggestion. Let's eat, Grandpa. Let's eat together. Let's have a meal together. So that's why I'm saying that punctuation marks are really essential in our writings. How do we use the comma? After and examples. We are going to see some cases where we place the comma after some certain words, and then we'll see examples. The first one, we put or we place comma after yes or no. Look at the example. Yes, I do. No, I don't. It is placed here after yes and after no. Number 2, exemplary forms and abbreviations. Exemplary forms, when I say for example, I'm going to give examples, or that is. And these are the abbreviations for them. Instead of writing for example, I put EG, then comma. That is, I put I, E, and comma. Look at the example here. He asks for help. That is, it is here written, and we have the comma. He needs help. Either you write it that is with words, or you write the abbreviation of that is, which is IE. Exclamations. Exclamation, we put an exclamation mark at the end. Yeah, like this. But I mean here exclamation words, like for example, oh. Yes, I put the comma directly after oh. Oh no, I put it here directly after oh. Number 4, dates. On February 1st, 2021, I put here the comma after the date, whether it is 1st, 2nd, 28th, and directly before the year. Number 5, in family name, followed by first name. If you write, for example, my name is أمال الفرا, and if I write it with the family name first, الفرا, then I put a comma, then my first name. Number 6, salutations and ending letters. When you start your letter, you put dear and the name, whether it is a formal letter or informal letter, followed by the comma. And when you end your letter, you write sincerely yours or yours sincerely, and then you place the comma. Number 7, an adverbial clause or a phrase. What do we mean by adverbial clause? Maybe you took this in your course structure 1. Adverbial clause means that the clause starts with an adverb. Look at the example. When he entered the house. This is called adverbial clause because it starts with the adverb when. Then the clause he entered the house. What about adverbial phrase? Adverbial phrase means when entering the house. Instead of writing he entered, it becomes entering. When entering the house, this is adverbial phrase. It is followed directly with the comma, then the phone rang. Number 8, a prepositional phrase at the beginning of the sentence. That means your sentences start with a prepositional phrase, and the prepositional phrase, of course, has a preposition at the beginning, like at. At is a preposition. So, at school, a prepositional phrase. The preposition plus the noun. They are followed by the comma. At school, he works hard. Number 9, introductory words and phrases. That means you begin your sentences. Introductory means at the beginning of your sentences. Upstairs, comma. You can find the manager. I will help you. These are introductory words, comma, he said. Number 10, transitional elements. What do we mean by transitional elements? Transitional elements, the elements or the vocabs or the words or the adverbs that you use to transition from one sentence to another, from one paragraph to another. Like these adverbs, for example, in fact, indeed, however, consequently, yet, still. In fact, followed by a comma, he needs to study hard. The last one for after is number 11, absolute elements and phrases. Absolute, يعني مطلقة. For example, you look at the example here. Rain or shine. It means whether it is raining or it is shining. What? He plays football. He always plays football, whether it is raining or shining. So rain or shine followed by comma. The second example, the storm having stopped. Look at having stopped. This is a phrase. It starts with a verb and ing. It is also preceded and followed by commas. They went outside. Now we're going to see the other functions, the cases that we place the comma before, not after, and examples. Number 1, an ing form phrase. Look at the example. She went out, comma, before it, leaving her younger brother alone. Leaving, this is ing form. The verb leave plus ing preceded by a comma. Number 2, connectives in long compound sentences. Connective means using conjunctive words like the word and, so, but in compound sentences. You know that in English we have 4 types of sentences. We have simple sentences, compound sentences, complex sentences, and compound complex sentences, and this will be explained later in other lectures. Compound sentences means that you are joining 2 simple independent sentences together using and, using but, using so, and as we will see. Look at the example here. He goes to school early in the morning. This is the first simple sentence. We have and to join the 2 sentences. Before and, we place the comma. Do you see? He goes to the farm in the afternoon. This is the second sentence. Okay? So we join them and they become one long compound sentence using and. Before and, we place the comma. And I want you to differentiate between this and between if we have a list of items, many items. For example, if I say, I bought bananas, comma, apples, comma, meat, and chicken. Here before and, I do not place a comma when I have a list of words, a list of items. But when we have 2 sentences and we want to join them with and, I place a comma just before and just after the first sentence. Number 3, tag questions. Tag questions, you know that tag questions are the short questions which are placed at your sentences. He is a clever student, a comma, isn't he? So the comma is placed before the question tag. Like for example, he can swim, can't he? She can't play the guitar, can she? So we place the comma directly before this short tag question. 4, to replace omissions. Omissions means that you omitted some words. They are not found in the sentence now. Look at the example. A car is used for a short journey, a plane for a long one. Here we use in the first example, a car is used for. So we can also say a plane is used for a long one. Instead of repeating is used, they are omitted and replaced by the comma. So we see the cases that we use a comma after and comma before, and now we are going to see the cases in which we use the comma to separate things or words from each other or clauses or phrases. Numbers and a series of items. For example, if you have a long number like 6 millions, you use the comma to separate each 3 numbers from the others. Look here, number 2, she ate rice, chicken, salad, and fruits. We have a list of items here. We have rice, chicken, salad, fruits. So they are separated with commas. But as I said before, I don't place a comma before and here. Only in compound sentences, when you join two sentences to make a longer compound sentence. Number 2, geographical places. It means that if you want to tell somebody about the place of something or the importance of something that is geographical, you can place the comma to separate the things from each other. For example, Al-Omari Mosque is a historical mosque. Al-Omari Mosque, comma, in Gaza, comma, east of something or a place, comma, and so on. So you separate the geographical places from the other parts of the sentence using the comma. A non-restrictive relative clause. When you see the verb relative, it means that you are going to use what? You are going to use the relative words like who, whom, which, that. Look at the example. The girl, comma, who is sitting there, comma, is my sister. Who is sitting there? This is a non-restrictive relative clause. They are separated from the previous words and the following words with commas. Number 4, an appositive phrase or clause referring to the same person or thing. For example, Nada, my daughter, works at my school, for example. Look here, my daughter refers to whom? To the same person, that is Nada. So my daughter here is called a positive phrase. Okay, it is separated from Nada and the other following words with 2 commas. 5, a parenthetical adjective. A parenthetical adjective, it means that you are using adjectives to describe somebody or something or anything. Look here at the example. His grandfather, comma, sick and tired, comma, shouted at the young children. That means grandfather was sick, was tired, and he shouted at the young children. We placed sick and tired, which are the adjectives that describe grandfather. We place them between commas, okay, to separate grandfather from the following words. Look here. An English professor asked the students to punctuate the following. A woman without her man is nothing. There are no punctuation marks, no commas between the words. I want you now to stop this video. Try to think. How can you punctuate this sentence? Where can you add a comma, for example? Okay, let's see your answers, and you can see the other answers and differentiate between them. All of the males in the class wrote. The males in the class, they answered for the professor. A woman without her man, look, together, comma, is nothing. When they place the comma here, it means that the woman cannot stand on her own without a man. Without a man, she is nothing. This is the meaning. But look at the females. What did they write? All of the females in the class wrote, a woman without her man is nothing. Look at the difference now when the comma is placed here. That means the man is nothing without the woman. But here means the woman is nothing without the man. Look at the difference between placing the comma in the first and second one. What about you? What was your answer? We will discuss it on Zoom session, inshallah. Now let's see this activity. Punctuate the following sentences. Tom and Jane came into the room, asked around, whispered to each other, and then strangely enough went out. Number 2, Jim and I decided to go out, but later we changed our minds and decided to stay at home and rest. Number 3, the man whom I saw yesterday was Jim, who is a doctor. And number 4, she said to him, when are you going to finish this exercise, Robert? Number 5, January 28th, 21 was the coldest day. However, the next day, Sunday, seemed even colder to me, but of course I am very sensitive to cold. Now, I want you to stop this video. Please try to write your answers on a piece of paper in your copybook, okay? And then try to compare between your answers and my answers. Okay? Let's see the answers and try to find the difference between them. Look at number 1. Tom and Jane came into the room, comma, looked around, comma, whispered to each other, comma, and then, comma, strangely enough, comma, went out. Number 2. Jim and I decided to go out, comma, but later we changed our minds, comma, and decided to stay at home and rest. Number 3. The man, comma, whom I saw yesterday, comma, was Jim, comma, who is a doctor. Number 4. She said to him, always after saying we place a comma and we start with quotation marks. Okay, and here inside the quotation marks, we start with capital letter, as we will see when we talk about the quotation marks. When are you going to finish this, Robert? And comma before the name Robert, question mark and quotation marks. Number 5, January 28th, before later we will explain, 28, 2021, comma, was the coldest day. However, comma, the next day, comma, Sunday seemed even colder to me, comma, but of course, comma, I am very sensitive to cold. Now, this is the answer. Try to compare it with your answers, and on Zoom session, I will ask you, why did we punctuate these sentences in this way? What's the reason? Why did we put this comma before or after, or to separate some words? Please review what we explained before in order to answer. Thank you so much and goodbye for now.